weekend
something.
ago.
Andy Dalton. Who is Andy Dalton? I mean, I know who he is. He's the backup quarterback to James Winston. But where's James Winston? I thought he was our quarterback.
I think he got hurt.
He got hurt last year. Hey guys, welcome to the Watchmen. We're here today live. This is on this DJ Reed Facebook page. So if you're checking this out, you are in the right spot. Guaranteed. We're going to get into this to let you guys know this is the Watchmen. This is part of the movement ministries. This is our men being men. This is our Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
I think that should be
we haven't done one of these in a very long time because we've had some ups and downs, some moments of not being here or bad timing, that type of thing, and it's interesting to come back to this, and we're in a kind of a different setting here instead of in our my usual location. So
I like this better.
I think I do too. It's a more
personal.
Personal
Yeah,
personal space,
I feel like I can talk to you more about stuff instead of like looking at you across the room.
Yeah, to make sure I'm still awake.
Yeah,
just messing with you. But
I wonder if we should change it to the Watchmen experience.
Ooh, yeah.
Because that'd be pretty cool. That'd definitely be pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Watchmen experience. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
So we haven't been here in a couple of weeks. I know that we've been playing reruns on the app, but this is us going live today, just to
allow everyone to know that we are still alive,
and that we still have very masculine opinions about stuff.
Yeah, especially some of the topics we've been kind of waltzing in, and because even though like some of these occasions where you don't see us go live, I'm still showing up, not every weekend, but still showing up, and we're here, and me and DJ are sitting here talking, and there's probably some moments that could have been recorded and been beneficial for you guys, but to hear this or to hear the conversation being played out. However, we're doing it today,
right?
So you'll be able to capture whatever we're going to get into today. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about us this week about today and some of the stuff I want to talk about because there's so much that has been going on, just sheerly in the world, just sheerly in the world. There's so much going on. And as men, we've talked about this the past couple of weeks and I think we talk about this a lot in our ministry, where it's hard for us to see men coming together for a common cause.
Yeah.
Like, it really is hard. Like, and I don't know why. I was watching some TikTok videos, which I kind of do from time to time, and there was these men that were talking about the same thing. They were saying men don't have tribes anymore.
No.
Like, there's no tribalness into us, and that right now that may be getting us canceled because that's probably a.
Well, I'd almost go down to the only type of tribe or something like that you would see as like a come together moment would be whether you're in some sort of law enforcement, military. Those are pretty prevalent. Like you just see it, but then on the other side, on the civilian side, on all of us, just normal everyday citizens, just we go to Walmart or whatever. It almost seems like it comes down to like football teams. I know it sounds as ridiculous as it is, but like if you got we're all Saints fans or something like that, then me, you, and Drew can all have a conversation, a very long conversation, a very like
detailed, oriented,
and it's a bonding moment. But it's almost like you have to have this common goal, and the goal really isn't that big. So. Yeah, our favorite football team's the Saints, and but then how deep does that really go?
We want to cheer them till they win.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. Like, for us, it's always been about changing men and women's hearts. For us, even as I say, women, we're supposed to influence our women. I mean, you think about it, women are who they are today because of us.
Yeah.
I mean, that may be offensive to some people, and that's okay. Because that's just the facts.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, the older women of the day were saying, hey, you need to be better than your man. You can do whatever a man can do, you can do. Constantly comparing woman to man. And so they have now women trained to want to be a man, and then they have men trained to want to be a woman.
Yeah.
See, our society's all messed up. And
it's all jacked up. Actually, I was down there with Colby.
Yeah,
hanging out with him I was speaking with his mom and just having a simple conversation, and we got onto this topic, a very long conversation about the differences, especially in like the dating world, and just the dynamic is so messed up, just ridiculous. And when you go back, and you grew up during this time period as well, so you would know, even though you were more into the hip hop genre, during the '80s there was a lot of rebellious music, so a lot of rock bands, a lot of heavy metal and stuff like that, and then all these like emo, the Green Day, that type of people. It's all about rebellion. It's all about going against the grain or going against authority, going against all this. And so I feel like that has a very big influence to you got your teens growing up, and then they see this and they want to be rebellious, and then you got the parents who are not like that Abraham Lincoln style of fathership and stuff. Where they're like, no,
that's true.
I'm going to hit you with this 2x4 if you don't quit.
Right.
To discipline you, and there's not really any of that. It was more of probably throw your hands up. I can't deal with this. This kid is just out of control, and just let him go. And then they let that individual go out into the world, and they're just jacked up. And then they go and reproduce, and they create more jacked up people. And it's just this cycle of BS that just continually happens. So it's poor leadership, and a lot of it. And what was interesting was, I think she said that she was listening in on some of the conversations and some of the podcasts that you've been doing, and me and you've been doing, which I didn't know that. So that was...
Who is this?
Angie. You remember with Dan? Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting to see that, or to hear that, and what she was bringing up, which is the same thing that you brought up a while back, a couple podcasts ago, was that the women have had to take the lead, had to take the charge, had to pick up and go.
Yeah.
But there's a fine balance when you go down that route. There needs to be the women need to know what they need to do too, as well as what the man needs to know. So it's both sides being jacked up. You got one side that doesn't get taught anything, so they're absolutely useless. Low test. We've talked about that. So you have all that, and then on the other side, they're being taught, your tits can get you anywhere in this world. You're a princess. You can do no wrong. You're just the perfect little girl, and you deserve all the golds and riches like freaking Madonna or something. Like, what?
I want to touch on the whole thing about. We get behind the football team, right?
Yeah.
But yet we won't get behind things that are truly effective,
that truly matter.
Like, and I'm not talking, and this is, for me, I'm not talking about political either, because politics doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because it has to be something deeper than that. Because the politics we have here are not the same politics that are in Brazil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's totally different politics. Yeah. But the same things that are going on now is the same things that are happening in Brazil. The same type of dynamic. Governments are trying to take over, blah, blah, blah. So we have to go back to, what is that common goal that will take us so deep that we go back to poker nights, to where we're just hanging around, smoking cigars, playing cards, and doing those type of things. Absolutely. Not just about football. I'm literally meaning not about football, not about of the world. I'm talking about us coming together, like I said, playing poker, smoking cigars, talking about Jesus, talking about how we can further the kingdom of God, talking about doing those things like that. Because we don't have that, and I think as men, we have been given a false narrative of what that's supposed to look like. Yeah. Like, we're now told that we're supposed to, how do I want to put this? We're told that we're supposed to put our woman like way up here above ourselves and everything else, which we are according to the word. If you're married, right? If you're married, there's a different dynamic. But as a single person, as a male to female ratio, I'm not going to put you someplace bigger than myself, unless we're married.
Yeah.
And I think over the years we've let the majority, men and women, talk the masculine men down to being individuals. Mm-hmm. Like if you notice if you notice in today's society, you ask a man, who does he turn to in his time of trouble? Nobody. Yeah. Most people tell you no. But see, back in the day when you had poker nights, when you had bowling leagues or whatever the situation, that was the group of men coming around, and you would talk about that stuff. You would talk about whatever was going on in your day-to-day life, and you got to bond. We don't have that. There are bowling leagues out there if people want to be a bowling, but I'm talking about that ultimate relationship to where we know that we can create change through the power of Christ.
What's interesting that you say that is that there's a lot of people on YouTube that aren't even about like a Christian background or trying to spread the message of God. They're just content creators, and there's multiple ones, and they all say, you got to get out there, you got to join a club, you got to do this. So they're seeing it even on not even just obviously a spiritual front, but seeing it just as a normal civilian, just person. Like, wow, this is crazy.
That speaks a lot of truth to that, because it's not just about, we were talking about Andrew Tate before we got on live, and I mean, Andrew Tate's okay. I'm not saying he's good or bad or whatever. I'm not one to follow him because while he says some very bold things, I think sometimes it may come from a different place than it needs to be. He's trying to prove something. You know what I'm saying? Like his demeanor is, I've got something to prove. Whereas I don't have anything to prove to anybody. Cancel me today, I'm still going to be me today.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get fired up and try to come back at the machine because you canceled me or whatever. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I think he says some very bold stuff, but I don't necessarily think that you should entertain trying to be like that. Maybe in some aspects, but not the whole fullness of
it. Depends on what you're talking about. It's very situational that you need to be that aggressive or fighting about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense that, okay, in the correct scenario, yeah, this is BS that this has happened. However, in our case, if it were to happen, we got other ways. We already know other ways. So that may happen. All right, that sucks. Cool.
And so it sounds cool when he talks, because he talks real fast. Hey, man, if you want to make some money, I got you right here, right now, here. The American people, they're just so stupid. They are locked up because the government. I mean, he talks real fast, very bold. Like I said, I'm not saying what he's saying is right or wrong. The principle and the motivation, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Like a pastor will get into a church with the right motivation, but then something happens to that particular pastor where it turns him into another type of person.
Yeah.
So, I think that could be when we look at somebody like Andrew Tate, which, like I said, we have here that sense of wanting to come together. It just seems like it's hard to get men motivated. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have no drive, like we were talking, no testosterone, no nothing that gets us to drive to be better. And so, like we were talking the other week about now, while I do believe that we're in an age of Eve, but run parallel with that is probably like an age of Deborah. Deborah was somebody that the Lord used because the men didn't want to do what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to go in battle and they were supposed to fight, but they were like, we don't have no leader. We can't go do this. Deborah was like, yo, why can't y'all do this? Y'all are the men of God. She was like, why aren't y'all doing it? But she had to step up and do that. And I think what we see today as far as believers, because men have been scared to fight back against the beliefs of the Christian faith. And what I mean by that is exactly what I mean by that. When I see something wrong, I'm going to call it out in a church, and I'm going to challenge a pastor. I don't care because I'm not challenging you because I want to be better than you. I challenge you because I don't understand or because I seek clarity. Well, as men in the church, it's harder for us to challenge that pastor because your wife or your girlfriend be like, hey, don't challenge him. That's not nice. That's not right to do. Like, what? Yeah, it is. I'm a dude. That's a dude. He's saying some crazy stuff. I need to make sure that what he's saying ain't too crazy because I'm responsible for what you're learning. So, yeah, you need to hold on. Let me go talk to this dude. Like I've done several times, and I've gotten thrown out of churches because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm not saying that with a badge of honor, but what I am saying is that I am no longer, and have been for a very long time, no longer wanting to hear about people's fake beliefs in this Christian Hear this. In 1999, nearly 70% of the American population claimed to be Christian. Guess how much it is in 2019?
Like 20%.
No, but it was 49%. A drastic drop in 20 years. Imagine what that's going to be in the next 20 years if we don't stand up right now. Like if we don't start standing up right now and calling out these pastors. And I'm not being that in a mean way, but we've got to address some of this stuff. I saw on the internet a few weeks ago where there was a United Methodist Church that actually ordained a transgender person to be a pastor. That is not acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And no, where is the men in that building to say there's probably not no men? That's because they've been even in the church.
I mean, they're just living castrated. That's all it is.
There's a certain amount of truth to that because in the church buildings you have this one guy who wants to have all the popularity, and so he says all the right things, and so he wants to stay woke.
Then in those situations like that you talk about, and this may be something for a leading lady to have to cover in her stuff, is in that situation where you're sitting there, or you said the men of the church tries to stand up, and then the wife, girlfriend, whoever you want to call it, it's like, no. Well, why doesn't she not? Where does she get the nerve to sit there and try and pipe up in that particular point right there? See, that's where like I get frustrated about this, seeing like you said, the age of Deborah, just because I know that that's not the right way. So it pisses me off.
Me too.
Because it makes me want to say, turn around, sit down, shut up. But that type of person is very rare to come across nowadays for multitude of reasons. But yes, in that particular instance, then there's placements for both people.
And so that's
where I get like the men or younger generation. They're not getting taught leadership skills and all this stuff, right?
They're just being programmed.
Just being programmed. But on the same factor, that's also equally as important on the woman's side as well. Equally.
Well, that's what I like about the dynamics of me and leading ladies' relationship is that if I was to stand up, she's not going to say nothing to me.
Yeah. Until
we get home. Then she may say something to me. But she's going to let me be the man that God's called me to be, and that's going to how it rolls.
Which that makes sense. You come home, maybe something was not understood. Or
she's done it.
Why'd you do that?
Or she's done it 100 times. We've been.
And
that's okay. And here's the thing, because of my wife, because of who she is, when she gets me home and she tells me these things, I may get a little frustrated, but at the end of the day, she's saying something out of love just to make me better, not to criticize me.
No.
And see, that's another mindset that as men we don't have, that our wives or our counterparts is supposed to be there to help lift us up. And so if our wife gives us a critique, it's not necessarily against, I don't know everything. It's that, hey, babe, I see that you may have done this a little this way. Maybe you can. She did it today, driving home. I went and preached at the United Methodist Church in Boone's Mill, and she was telling me, she's like, you did really good, really great word. I was talking about forgiveness, and she said, but you took a little too long on getting to your point.
Yeah.
But she would never do that in front of the congregation. She would never do that.
Yeah.
But we got into the car, she said that.
See, that's perfectly acceptable because it's between you two.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? When that shit happens and it's up front, in front, like to me, if I was in that situation, you would see me, I would be in orbit. Pissed off. I'd want to flip something.
Especially if I'm in public somewhere and you do that. Yeah. Oh. I mean, at the end of the day, I am a man and I still can hold my own. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that in a bragging way, but if I had to go to jail for something, I'm okay with it. Because if I'm going to jail for something, that means I'm doing it for the right reason. Yeah. I'm not just out here trying to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
But if it came down to it, of course I'm going to. My wife is probably not going to approve of that situation, but she's not going to try to stop me unless it's like going to kill me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so That's what needs to be taught. That's why I like what she tries to teach here for women. I mean, she's trying to incorporate that in her teaching so women can come to her and see a good example of a godly woman, because that's what we're missing also.
Yeah.
We talk
It's
about
both
men.
fronts.
We talk about men, but we also need to talk about the women. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not a woman. I do not claim to be a woman. My pronouns is me. I am DJ, Pastor DJ, the people's pastor, a dude, and that's it. I'm not into all these pronoun stuff, you know. And and so what we're trying to do is attack it from both fronts, because if you go, like I said, you go into the church buildings, you see more women, because all the men's done been pissed off because they can't confront the pastor because he's somehow protected, and so they just don't go back. Right? I mean, typically that's what happens, I guess. And then you have these women that go to these churches, and while most of them love God, and so they're trying to produce the kingdom and going forward, that's the Deborah. Where's the men? Why ain't the men just coming back and saying, ladies, sit down. We got this. And in these environments, I say it's because of that one person that thinks he's King Almighty in them buildings. Yeah. And that's what I speak out against. Like this past Friday on the Sleepy DJ show, I was talking about Halloween. And I was telling all the pastors out there, and I'll say it all again. Yo, quit mixing it. I don't care what you want to do, but quit bringing trick-or-treating to a church. That's where we get problems, where the pastor of these buildings are trying to get people to come to their churches so they have like a trunk or treat, or they have some type of Halloween festive. Well, that's no. That doesn't happen. That's not supposed to happen. Whether you celebrate it or not, that's a totally different subject. You know what I'm saying? Because look, at the end of the day, the tabernacle that was built in the Old Testament, some of the stuff that goes on, they would have been stoned to death.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people don't have the same reverence to
they don't have the same respect.
They have no respect for the fact that that's it's supposed to be a godly building.
Well, that's what we're going to get to is with all that BS. Is it really godly, or is it just a building?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I put those quotations up, because if the presence of God is there, why would you want to ruin that with a man-made tradition? I was saying, don't bring the 4th of July there. And some people, that's very patriotic. I have a flag, but don't take it to that building, because that's not where God wants it.
The separation of church and state, buddy.
So if I'm at home and I want my kids to dress up like Spider-Man and go get candy, well, have at it.
Yeah.
Do you? But don't do it at the building if it's really a godly building, because you're not respecting him. Where do we see that at? Jesus, even in the New Testament, went back in the tabernacle and flipped over tables because they were disrespecting his Father's house. He said, "You made my Father's house a place of thieves, a den of thieves," because they were trying to exchange money and stuff like that. But it's supposed to be a house of prayer. I do not think Jesus is going to go get dressed up like Spider-Man and take your kid trick-or-treating. No. It's not going to happen. No. And to try to make believe that something like that will happen, but that's because there's no men stepping up and saying exactly what I just said in those church buildings. That's what we need, is men to rise up and say, no, we got to have a better reverence for God than this. Even if it means you and your family have to be removed from that place, we've got to start because that's how we're going to make change in this country. What was our country built on? Freedom of religion. One nation under God. We built it under God. And so we've gotten so far removed from that, but the men don't step up for that. We just don't, because we don't know how. Because if we do, then we look at disrespected, or you're not saved, or you're not this. Let me tell you what. If I'm coming to your church building and you're doing something crazy and I say something about it, just best believe I'm still saved today as I would be on that day. But being saved doesn't mean that I'm going to sit by and watch a transgender get behind the pulpit and not say something about it. You daggone right I am. You daggone right I am. You're not going to sit by and just watch the LGB 7322Q55, whatever they call themselves, take my rainbow. I'm not going to stand for that. And we got to start talking that way instead of worrying about oh, Republican, Democrat, Independent, blah, 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 blah. None of that's going to matter. They're all screwed up. We have to go back to that heart change for everybody, but it starts with the men. But how do you make that happen? Wanda told me today that she was looking on the internet, and there was like a Jehovah's Witness ad online. Get paid $25 an hour to share Jesus Christ.
Whoa. Whoa.
What does that say? To me, that says a magnitude of what part of what's wrong with us at all
is the money aspect, because there's monetary value on every damn thing. That is some shit right there.
But here's the thing.
Wow.
Whether they did it right or wrong, I've got to say what is their motive? Because look, nobody's there to do it. We've got to get it out there. So I guess we got to pay people. That's the other thing. That's the other problem with that whole thing. Because there's nobody that, the men out there doing it, they have to feel like they got to pay somebody to do it. How crazy is that? On both aspects, bringing the money in it to share Jesus is totally not cool at all. But to even be in a position where you got to feel like you got to pay somebody to tell about Jesus, that's totally different too.
That's very bad.
I mean, it is. Why are we not stepping up and saying that, if you want to have debauchery, you do your debauchery. Quit taking it around my kids. I mean, we live in a society where it's offensive if I say a transgender person is not well mentally, hypothetically. Okay? They don't like that. But why is that so bad to say? And why are we as men so afraid to be canceled? Because let me tell you what, enough of us get canceled. Well, back in the day, they figured it out. Because we have a country. A group of men got together and figured it out.
Yeah.
We should not be scared to have everything removed like Kanye West. Oh, I don't really care for the dude. I just don't care for Kanye West. Right? Mm-hmm. But he's speaking out. What's he
been saying? I haven't been.
Well, he's talking about the government. He's talking about how they're trying to silence him. And they are. They're trying to silence him, pit him as crazy. But they've been trying to pit him for crazy for 20 years. But Adidas just dropped him. Bellagio just dropped him. The Gap just dropped him. All kinds of people just dropping him. Wow. But he said something that people didn't like. The thing of it is
what did he say?
Something to do with the Jews or something. I'm not 100% sure. I think he said something about George Soros, who is a Jew. So they take it and twist it that he didn't like the Jews. I don't know.
That's the first time I think I've seen them go against a black person.
Just saying. That's the thing, is that we have to be we have to have that boldness like Kanye. He's like, I don't care, cancel me. I'm still not going to shut up. Because what I believe is what I believe. And so we need to be doing that. I mean, we may be doing it all day long every day.
I think the difference here is, as well, and it's just a thought that popped in, is there's a lot of followers rather than leaders to begin with. So just his personality, just straight up, like my brother is more of a follower.
Mine too.
And so and whether that comes down to personality traits or whatever, there's a whole lot of followers. So you get one prick over here say, well, that's not cool. And a lot of people admire said prick. Then they're going to just kind of follow and be like, yeah, that's bullshit. Like, why is the common joke like the Nickelback joke? Mm-hmm. I've heard that all over. Never understood why everyone hated him, or it just came up and then all of a sudden, I don't know if somebody famous said a Nickelback joke, and then it just became everyone hates Nickelback. And I'm like, why does everyone hate Nickelback?
And they're actually a pretty good band.
Yeah, I mean, they had some good classics way back in the early 2000s or 2010, around there. I remember listening to on the radio out fishing, so they come gone. So this afternoon was one of the songs. So we were out there fishing. Good times. So it was kind of part of my childhood. But then all of a sudden you get a few years older, like, wait, why does everybody hate? I could understand now. Maybe the classic stuff's better, the older stuff, than anything that they're doing now. Because I've gone back and listened to some. It really isn't that great. But the older stuff was better. However, there's just this joke, a long-running joke that still goes on to this day of hating Nickelback or hating Shinedown or whatever, all these bands. And I'm like, where did all this come from? Like, we're just wondering. Because then you say, you have 10 people in the room, somebody makes a Nickelback joke, and it's like, oh, yeah, we all get it. I'm sitting there like, ha, yeah, I don't know what the hell y'all, okay? Like, I guess, like, cool. Like, so it's kind of that follower, too.
Well, no, I definitely agree with you, the follower mindset.
Yeah, and whether it's a mindset, a personality, whatever it is, there's a lot of that. And I don't know.
Well, I think because men overall have been just demasculated. They
Demasculated,
have demasculated. Yeah, that's the word. Then we haven't had no desire to fight back. It's like it's almost been beaten out of us. Like, why do I want to fight back? What's the point? They're just going to beat me anyway. Like, I can't win anyway. And that's the mindset that most men have. That's why they just kind of follow along.
It's probably because it's not on a physical basis. Does that make sense?
Well, I would say that because because the warfare that we fight is a spiritual. We're not out here.
It's not spiritual, but like in some cases, like they use the media to shame everyone.
Right.
So, and then you get some hacker, prick, whatever, and then they release your data.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because you said something about the gay people, right? And so now on the dark web or wherever, people know your address. Now you have a family. So
they dox you like crazy.
So it's not like you just pissed me off, and I'm about to grab this beer can and bust it over your damn head. It's not like that back in the 60s.
Oh, wow. That's
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a
yeah. That's
battle now.
yeah.
It's not a battle.
Wow.
Not only just spiritual, but it's like I can't even confront directly the person that I'm trying to battle it out with. And if I go too far with it, then the media picks it up, and then they spread the hate like a wildfire.
Wow.
And they get all over the news. Then somebody probably got death threats on you. They know your address. You got your daughter sleeping. You see what I'm saying? And it just goes, wait. So
I ain't even think about that, Tommy. I mean, that's a very big thing.
It breeds fear to where men are just going to be like, yeah, we're not going to talk about this because it piss too many people off, and I don't want to deal with that bullshit. And they just kind of focus on me and mine, and that's it. That's it.
And that's what
and that's what you're seeing. And that's what I was talking with Angie. I was saying, like, I think most people that have this mindset, they're there, but they're kind of like, there's not enough alcohol, cigarettes, or anything to be able to fix this problem. So I'm taking care. I'm going to lead my household the way I feel led to lead it here. And it's just small pockets of people that are leading their households. Because, like I said, I've come across customers, and I get along very well with people that are older than me and just talk about stuff. And we're on the same wavelength. And, they have whatever, like, I forget. No, it was a younger couple. And one dude was awesome, but he had 3 kids. It was 2 younger, like, daughters and then one son. And, man, that son and the son's only like 5 or so. Like, probably older than that, maybe 8, I don't know. And he talked back, but they were, what'd you say? Yes, sir. You're going to, like, he said something back to one of them, and then the mom was like, what'd you not say? Yeah, and just starts, it was like military, man. It was like, you say yes, ma'am? No, ma'am. And just, you know what I'm saying? And that was being instilled into that child. Me and John were sitting there and we're like, hell yeah. This is rare. Well, and so that's why I say it, these small pockets are just, they're there. You got to find them, but they're there. But the reason why they're not speaking out is I think it's because they're going to try and come after everything. And it's like you either got to be armed to the teeth or and so, yeah, it's, I know you say you never thought of it that way, but I think that's a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, I don't. I have never thought of it that way. Is that it's a different battle now?
It's a very different battle because it's not
Like-
like people actually physically fighting.
I mean, that's the way
And
I'm
you
used to.
can't now
I
because
mean, that's what I'm used to. I mean, that's that. I mean, at the end of the day, if me and you had a problem, we go fight. You may beat me on a good day. I may beat you on a good day.
yeah,
But we just keep it moving afterwards.
exactly. But it's not like that. Because
And then we keep our common goal in front of us. It was never about, we fought and blah, blah, blah. It was, we would fight and then we go smoke a blunt. You know?
Well, that's interesting, and that look at gangs, for instance. You piss off one member of a gang, here comes the whole crew riding down the freaking.
We've talked about that before.
Drive by the whole house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how is that being taught? Like, okay, like I get it that, I guess it's because it's a family.
Oh yeah, that's
type of-
exactly
that-
why.
I mean that. Okay,
But we've talked about that before.
which would make sense if it's a family orientation. So I kind of went off.
For most
on
of us
that
as
one.
men, that's where we want. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Inside of us, we are all wanting to be a part of something. I keep getting offers to be part of the Freemasons. I keep getting sent invites, and that's a big deal when you get an invite. Because I ain't asking some, but they're asking me to come, which means there are people that's watching me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have I thought about it? Sure. I'm like, dang, man, I really want men to come together. That's only men, It's tempting. I'm not. But the thing of it is I'd be offered those things, and then to look at that, be like, man, that looks tempting. Because it's what I want. And it's what every man wants. We want to have a moose lodge. We want to go and just be men. We want to throw darts or axes or, you know what I'm saying? And we want to do that. And you're right. There are small pockets.
Well, and then
But then there's that those small pockets are just like you said. They're not having no basic biblical principle behind them.
no.
They're just, I'm going to run it the way that I feel.
It's been twisted. You're right. It's been twisted. So people are getting together, and I know where they're getting together at. So look, you have dating that's completely changed to where pretty much the only time you're going to be able to talk to somebody, get to know them, link up with them, whatever, is going to be on a dating app or through a dating app. Very rarely, I mean, nowadays you just get put on blast if you go walking up like, hey, my lady, how are you doing? Whatever, right?
That's crazy.
And then the other 50% of the women are like, I wish they would totally do this. Then the other half of them are like, if they do this, I'm suing them. I'm just going to sue them, right? Put them on all over TikTok. So you have that other dynamic, so that it scares any dude to even do a damn thing about it. So everything's all through dating apps, which also leads me to this, is people are getting together. It's in video games. It's online. It's in game parties on Xbox Live. Whenever we come to a moment where, like my buddy Drew, right? Whenever we come to a kind of a hedge of, all right, there's no football game on tonight, and I don't really feel like coming on over, then we end up, get on the box? Yeah, let's get on the box. And then we're on the box, and then we invite Colby in, and he's instantly there. Then we invite this person in, they're instantly there. There comes Caitlin, instantly there. Okay, so now we're all in a group chat, like through the mic, and we're playing games. And that's where it's changed. People are coming together, but it's not in person, and that's what they're missing, and that's what's very detrimental to all of it. On a very social level, like, yeah, you may be able to have a conversation through like the chat room, but you're not like in front. Like if me and you were having this podcast, and it was me out in BFE over here, right, and I'm on FaceTime, we're somehow linked this thing to where it's live, right? It's going to be a very different interaction between me and you. Maybe not for the audience, but me and you, it's a different interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree with that.
So that's where you're seeing a lot, and the rise of entertainment.
The video game thing I want to touch on, because I know that you're right on that, because I know a lot of men who love video games, and I don't care, whatever, you want to love video games, but you're right, they're coming together on video games to beat the video game.
Yeah.
Instead of doing something purposeful.
Yeah, in life.
You're coming together to beat the video game. Like, where does that get you?
Yeah, exactly.
There is no drive in that to do better. Like, you're talking about games, right?
Like if I told you, hey man, over the past few months I beat the game Metro, which I really was playing. There's three installments of the game, but
Yeah.
played the last one first, and then the first one second, and then now I'm on the third or whatever.
I like the GameCube Metroid.
Metro. I don't know.
Nintendo, right?
No.
Oh.
This is on Xbox, so it's a game called Metro.
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 I'm sorry. I'm talking about. I was thinking about Metroid.
Oh no. So I beat Metro Exodus. That was the last one. Beat 2033, which was the first installment of it, and then I'm on First Light. What did that just do for you? What does that mean? What did I accomplish in life?
And you know what? I keep seeing these things on YouTube where they're having these big video game playoffs or something like that. Like, it's a thing. Like, it really is
Like a competition?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is because if you don't have, like, okay, you go back to Movie 300, right? Back in those days, if you weren't athletic, slit his throat, throw him off a bridge, he's done. That was a not proper gene pooled son. Now you got a bunch of people that they don't do that now, and they don't have any athletic ability, so they still have that inner rage, that inner ambition, that aggression to compete. Where's it going? It's going on a quick-scoping match on COD Black Ops 2 or something, right?
Do you think the absence of war has got us to be lazy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm not saying war is a good thing.
Yeah.
But
absence of fighting, and a lot of this plays into, like I was saying before, with my research with the physical fitness. My research into that leads me down so many different freaking routes to be able to build muscle and be a freaking tank.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the primary driving force of muscle building is testosterone. So then when you go into research about that, and I was telling you that men of the 1950s have like 900 test levels, but then you look at like somebody now, it's like 400 or 600. It's gone way down, which that also kills drive, that kills motivation, everything. I want mine to be just like a caveman's. Like, I want it through the freaking roof and be a monster, and that's just through strictly the fitness journey, building muscle.
Well,
and other things, to be just a monster. And that drop, as well as all the social media, as well as, okay, I'm going to get on Call of Duty real quick, hanging out with the boys, cool. You're having that togetherness, but it's not in person. It's through the airwaves, right? And then two, you know what? I'm getting off of here. Hey, you know what? I think I'm going to go wax the carrot. I'm going to get on the old phone, go to Pornhub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ease one out for a minute, right? So now there's no drive to, you know what? I don't need a girlfriend. I don't need to go meet somebody. I can just watch these. And it's like, which is sad because it's not real.
Right. Well, none of it's real.
Yeah.
None of it's real.
So
when you think about that fight and drive that we miss from, and I'm not saying we should go to war. I mean, as the believers, we're already in a spiritual warfare. But I think you've hit on a couple of things, like, whereas men were afraid to speak out, like 100% most of us are afraid to speak out because the consequences. Like, I'm not going to say this is a good thing. We're praying for Paul Pelosi. We're praying that he has a full recovery, right? Well, people are being pushed to a point to where they're going to start having that. So we saw recently where Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, just got beaten with a hammer. They broke into her house and was screaming they wanted to find Nancy Pelosi because they wanted to beat her in the head with a hammer. Mm-hmm. Well, why would somebody want to do that? It's because they've been pushed in a corner and they have no way of looking at any other options of saying, but to fight. Like, that's the only thing they have. Nothing is making sense. Nobody has anything to offer these people that are going through these things. I'm Democrat, Republican, I ain't whatever. There was just 8 shots here behind my house here last night. So as I've said before, we have to start watching that crime rate, but we haven't had any reason to fight. And so now we're getting more and more pushed into a corner to where I think we're going to have to start physically fighting.
Yeah.
Not that we want to. I don't want to. I mean, who does?
Yeah.
But I also know that we're living in a time where I turn on the TV every day and I see nothing but lies and everybody just gobbling it up.
Yeah.
Like literally gobbling. This is strictly just for an example, right?
Okay.
So Joe Biden gets on the TV the other day, and he was talking about gas prices, right? And he said something to the effect that gas is as cheap as it has ever been, especially when he took office, when it was $5 a gallon when he took office. No, you're lying. It's never been $5 a gallon when you took office. It got $5 a gallon in your midterm, and now it's dropped. But that's only because you're sucking up our oil, and all that. That's why I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
But it's lies up on lies, up on lies, up on lies, up on lies, up on lies.
Yeah.
And eventually,
it's going to piss people off.
Eventually. And unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way. We as men should want to come together, like the women in our church buildings. They're coming together because they want to make it better, but we're leaving them there with no oversight.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you say that, because it's like with me and riding around, I'm one-on-one with apprentices, and I don't know if I've had my buddy Daniel. He was telling me one time, he was like, we were having a conversation, one of his friends, and I was getting to know this person, just understanding their history and everything, and I'm just there, and he goes, "Yeah, you're interesting when you talk to people. It's like you're not interrogating them, but in a way, just you're very good at, I don't know, like just getting into a conversation and understanding things. I don't know if it's however I do that, whatever he was talking about, but I'll end up going. So I'm at work. Apprentice hops in the truck. All right, we're going to these calls, but we may be on a job or whatever, and I'm just starting to talk about whatever. It's same. I've talked about the same stuff we've talked here with my apprentices, and they range from 27 to 20 to, there's an age range. Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking to them, most of these guys, they all feel the same. They all feel the same. I thought, and it's interesting because I talk about stuff that most people would probably be more taboo, because I've asked, like my buddy Scott, great worker, they moved him up to a technician. However, there was one conversation we had, and he's like, "Yeah, I like riding with you." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "I don't know. You talk about stuff that the other technicians, I don't know, nobody else
about."
Yeah, nobody else talks about the stuff you talk about, and it's interesting that you go straight into real deep conversations that are just wrong, And it's interesting because I've had that commented 2 or 3 times by 3 different apprentices. So,
what I find over the past years that we've had the Watchmen and the Movement Ministries is over these past few months. Well, I say past year, there are a lot of things that we have preached and taught here that people are now just starting to come around to. Mm-hmm. They really are. Which I praise God for that, because somewhere, somehow, that needs to be more and more. I don't think we're not ever going to go back to a certain situation, but I do believe that going forward, us as a body of believers will look different than what it did 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah. We won't have a 70% rate here anymore. We'll be lucky to have a 20% after it's all said and done, unless we decide that we're going to shed some blood. Yeah. And unless something tragic happens, we won't even come together to stop that.
Yeah.
And that's the sad, and that's the thing for me. It's sad, is because if we talked about this the other day, right? So let's say you and I, and I don't know, 4 other people, right? We went in and we bought a piece of property.
Yeah, yeah.
And we say, well, okay, we're all going to put 4 tiny houses on this piece of property. But in order for us to be there, we're now going to live off the grid. So, Tommy, you're good at doing building stuff. So you're going to be the caretaker of all the other 3 houses plus yours. So anything breaks down, that's your job.
All
If
right.
nothing breaks down, you don't have nothing to worry about.
Yep.
Free day. Me, I'm a hunter, so my job is to make and get food for all 4 cabins, all 4 tiny houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we're stocked up on food, I ain't got much to do. That doesn't mean I can't lend a helping hand to somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So forth and so on. Another tiny house, maybe they're in charge of cleaning. I mean, I could go on, right?
Yeah.
So if we took those 4 people and that 4 common goal and started it, we could eventually see that grow into something bigger. But we have to stay true to it under the persecution. That's why the Bible talks about us being persecuted. That's the other part I believe that men don't want to deal with is the pain.
Yeah.
I do not believe that men want to go through the pain anymore that it takes to be like, no, it's not the right way.
Another factor to it is not only just the persecution, it's time. People want a lot of things instantly. Things take time. Do I want to look like Venom, right? Yeah, I want to look like Venom. I want to be like a monster like Venom, right? Is that going to be like tomorrow? Am I going to just wake up and be monstrous? No. That's going to take a heck of a lot of protein, time, and training. Probably 10 years of freaking training, honestly.
You know what's crazy? People expect it to be instant.
Exactly.
That's the other thing about it. It's the one thing to want it to be instant. We just expect it to be instant.
That's a whole nother level of entitlement right there. So,
we just expect stuff to be.
Yeah, I've been consistent, and I've dealt with back pain. I've dealt with my wrist. I almost think I have carpal tunnel going on here, and I got to ease up on the dumbbells. So, I don't know. That's also part of my job with using screwdrivers and all that. Twisting wires, 12 gauge. Yeah.
My wrist hurt today because of all the.
Yep.
All that.
Yep.
It hurts. My wrist hurt today because of it.
Exactly.
So it's something to look forward to.
Yep. There was another point, and I need to get back to it because that was I had a beautiful moment there, and I hope I can remember it. But it was while you were speaking. I kind of let it go so I could listen in, and now I'm like, this was a very good point, I think, and then it's gone. So,
Angie.
No.
Okay. So that's the other part of it. No man just wants to go be persecuted no more because.
This is what it was. There it is.
Go ahead.
Was, can you imagine how much different the world would be right now if they had just stopped at phones? What I mean by that, if they just stopped at not cell phones, not smartphones. I'm talking about the freaking jitterbug. If they had just stopped at just where all you could do is call, or even before that, maybe not even that. Maybe just writing letters. That would force every single person that if they want to talk or be around somebody, well, damn, you got to drive, walk, run, ride a bike, however it is, fly a freaking plane.
Well, that's
to go see that other person. You know what I'm saying?
If
they just stopped at that, I think a lot of our problems would be different because, like I said, the instantaneous that I could get on my phone, not knowing where Drew is right now, and give him a phone call, wherever he's at, and talk to him instantly.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I was growing up, I mean, I'm going to go
Abraham Lincoln style on us. There we go.
Yeah. We were told to go outside and play.
Yeah. So I was as well. Yep.
We were told to go outside and play. There was no time for us to sit inside and soak up the AC. Go outside and play. So what did you do?
Outside.
You formed
basketball, football.
You form little BMX gangs, or you form little basketball gangs.
Yep.
And there started.
Soft, yep.
But there started that camaraderie. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. And the fights, and the cussing, the fussing, the good times.
But we came with this technology. However, it's very useful. Like it's being used right now. We're on our platform.
Exactly. Yeah.
It has its potential to be good. It's just that we've allowed the devil to come in and infiltrate it to where it's so easy. It's easier to do evil on the internet than it is to get good across the internet.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's why we have to constantly ask ourselves, men, what will it take? Please don't make me say that I got to be like a Jehovah's Witness and run an ad and pay you $25 an hour to go tell somebody about Jesus. Has God not shown up enough in your life? And maybe that's the fact of the matter. Maybe God hasn't showed up enough in their life.
Yeah.
Maybe they've been hurt enough by the church that they want nothing to do with it. Maybe they've been hurt by family members that, are so judgmental they want nothing to do with it. And when you come back to that reality, you lose something because you're not still willing to step up and be the man that you need to be and the man that you are called to be. We're all called to be men, and men have a certain way about being about who we are. We just are. It's not a bad thing. It's actually good.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when somebody calls upon, who they going to call when war breaks out?
The men.
Yeah, they're going to call the men. What's going to happen if there's if somebody breaking into your home? What does the wife do?
Get the man.
Get the man. Man is always on the front line when it's needed, but we got to take a back seat to stuff that's wrong in this country. If we would have had bigger men in Congress and legislation and stuff like that, imagine what would not have went through. I'm not talking about the stuff that went through. I'm talking about the stuff that would not have went through.
Yeah.
We would probably be a lot better society, but nobody wants to play that game until, I guess, until we end up having to.
Until we have another war, like if there's another war, and it could be with another country or internal. Yeah, you heard me say that right. Internal.
40% of Americans now talk about divorce or a civil war.
Yep.
40%.
Yep.
That's a large number.
Watch that be all the Christians. But no, I'm just saying that, whether it's internal or if it's with another superpower country, whatever you want to call it, you're not gonna have it'd be a big embarrassment because you'll have some F-16 jet flying, but then they spray the smoke just like the Blue Angels, but it'll be a rainbow going and dropping a missile. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's like Chinese be like, yeah, that will kill us. However, that is stupid. That is bad. You know what I mean?
We want to talk about following China, right? Let's just. I want to put this on here real quick.
Go ahead.
Put everybody out there on blast. We have a government that says we need to follow China's example. Okay. Oh yeah. Go. If you don't believe me, just go back and look at what Joe Biden said for the past 2 years, or his entire career. Burisma remind anybody of anything? Or is a laptop somewhere? Anyways. So let's adopt China's principles because they want to go back to being masculine. That is the number one thing. You cannot be in their army unless you're masculine. You cannot, and that's what they want to bring back is masculinity. They found out they made the mistake by putting all their boys as boys. They saw their army was weak, and they knew they were weak. So they had to come back with the campaign of, we need masculine men, strong men that's going to stand up in the face of battle. That's the type of stuff that we need to ask ourselves. In the face of battle, you want to talk about persecution? There is no running. You just either going to shoot back or it's there.
Yep.
And so they want to create a more masculine society. Why? I wonder why that is, Tommy. Interesting.
Yeah.
Why is it that there's a war going on right now, and the masculine men, I'm not saying they're right or wrong in the situation, but they seem to be holding their own when other countries are pouring money into the other country? Just saying. People can say, Putin was the insane of the insanity. I don't think he's a good guy in any way, shape, or form. But his army, and no matter how many he loses, he's still strong. It's still taking the rest of the world to combat Russia right now. Let that sink in. No matter how much money and stuff we're sending to Ukraine, we still can't beat Russia.
Or is it really going to Ukraine? Who are they? What are they? If half the country's destroyed,
Yeah,
it's like
that's a total.
it's like what factory is popping out tanks every 10 minutes?
Yeah,
Like it's a bunch of blown smoke. Never mind.
yeah, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah,
but that just goes back to I'm just saying, why is that? Why is it because they're masculine?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being masculine. It's the toxic masculinity that's bad. The one that wants to take it over the top. The one that says, I'm a dude and you're going to do everything I say because the Bible says I'm the dude. No. Sit down, buddy. You're a problem too.
That's
You're a very big problem too.
That's very misguided people that have that. Well, it's like on the Joe Rogan show. Quote goes, "It's better to be a warrior in a garden rather than a gardener in a war. So be a monster, but learn how to control it. See, learn.
That's what Jordan Peterson says.
That's what. Yep. On his podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jordan Peterson is amazing when it comes to stuff like that.
And it's true. The thing is, it's true because when you do, when you have somebody that's like over the top, like you said, and then if they get into power,
but guess
that's
where they
very
found
dangerous.
that? Guess where they found that from? It's called the Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek.
Mm-hmm.
Because being meek means that you was a rampant, ravaged horse, but you can hold it under control.
Yeah. And people that, and it's clear as day that is not the case in many places. Not even on the top level like Putin or something like that, right? All the way down to, why don't we go a few doors down or up the street? I guarantee you we will find a domestic violence case in this area right now.
Probably.
Guaranteed.
Because that's toxic.
Guaranteed.
Toxic masculinity. Yeah. And like I said, that's where it comes back from. Poor leadership, following. I mean, the list goes on, but I do believe that it comes back. One of the key factors is that we, as men, do not come together and do as we as men. And I'm not talking about football games. I think that's such a waste of time in a lot of aspects. It's a good entertainment, but but it offers no real value at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I get entertained. It's just about, to me, like playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
There's no real entertainment. There's no real value there. However,
you're not really you're there with the people, but you're not really interacting.
That's why with
that's another thing I've always
I
noticed.
was talking about earlier, us coming together, like having poker tournaments and stuff like that. The reason why I say that is because during those times, those are conversations that happen in those settings that actually do change the world. Those are the times that conversations come about that says, you know what, this is one we need to do.
Yeah.
And
multi-million-dollar idea or something, right?
And you have a group of men there ready to go and back you on it because they're already that camaraderie. Yeah. I think that's one of the key things we need to bring back into our society is men just gathering to be men. It's okay. It's okay. And we should have more of that and less of the Buffalo Wild Wings experience.
Who is saying it's not okay?
What's that?
Who's saying it's not okay for guys to get together?
Feminists.
Well, they're just stupid. We've heard. I mean, any argument they have, to me, I don't even. Nothing they can say or do is valid in my mind.
No, I get it. I get it. I get it.
But I think the majority of people do. It's just, I don't know. Like, if you have a group of people and they all hang out, like, they're almost always on their phone doing stuff like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, we're all together. But I saw this a lot with, like, my brother, Austin, AJ, all them. Like, all they would do when they hung, not all the time, but, like, if there's a moment in silence and there's nothing else going on, everyone's on their phone. I mean, it is what it is.
And see, back in the day, it wasn't that way.
It wasn't, yeah. You just jump up and punch someone in the face or something.
But they didn't.
Whatever.
But just like, it goes back to what you said.
Yeah.
There was no phones.
Yeah.
You had to literally sit and talk and think about stuff. Man, I remember back in the day when I was not saved. But I'm using that because we used to have a group of young men that we were together, and we won't go into all the aspects of it, but we would sit around, we would smoke blunts, and some people would drink shots, and we would just talk about the things of the world and what we could do in the world. There was a clarity of mind between the men that I was around that says, hey, we can do this, or what if we did this to change the world? It was always that positive critical thinking to say, what is that next best idea? Because guess what? There is none of that next best idea. It's always somebody jumping on YouTube. Hey, you want to make $1 million? Come follow me. Take my course. I promise you and guarantee you will make $100,000 by the end of the day one because you paid for my guaranteed seal of approval. Bullcrap. They're just selling you some stupid random scam. I'm not saying you ain't going to get nothing out of it, but they don't know how to make $100 million. Because if they did, they sure as heck wouldn't be on YouTube.
And this also brings me to another thing that I've noticed as well is not only the video games, is cars. I've noticed car groups, anything car related, and it did for me as well. But
motorcycles.
Motorcycles. But like that, I got into that because of my brothers, at the time, my brother and all of them were into it, but I actually kind of got attached to it because I like working on mechanics. I just like working with my hands. Mm-hmm. Hey, this truck is broken, needs something fixed on it, and I can get in there and fix it. Love it, absolutely love it. But the thing is, I've noticed that cars and the whole thing, doesn't matter what you like, has shot straight up, and so, whether it's status or being able to show off, whatever, cool. But there's a lot of car groups, a lot of motorcycle gangs, all car meets. So people do come together, but I think it's a lot. It's like I said, it's a little bit different now.
But see, even then, I'll throw that to the side because of what I'll keep going back to the poker night. Poker has a competition involved.
Yeah, between one another. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they'll come together to show stuff off. Yeah, I won't discredit that one whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that real hardcore manly type of, I've got $20 on the line. Mm-hmm. I got to make it work. I'm puffing on my cigar like, you know what I'm saying? Like that competition that's right there, or playing dominoes or spades or something like that. You know, and I'm not talking about shooting guns or anything. I'm talking about that hardcore competition that gives a man that fulfillment that he needs to say, I beat you. I talk a smack about you all day long. Look at you. You thought you could run a straight on me. Boy, I come back with my royal flush and grabbed up all your money. You see, that's what we need. That's something that we don't have no more, that face-to-face, real action, stuff like that. While it's cool that we get together and, look at cars, while it's cool to get together, but not most people can't afford to fix cars up. Most people can't afford to fix a motorcycle up. But I do know that there's a lot of people that if we had a poker tournament, something to win at the end of the night, I guarantee you, you have a lot of competition going on.
Oh yeah,
and you'll have people, and you'll have the men standing around egging it on for the other. You see what I'm? That is what we lack.
Well, I got invited a couple of weeks. It's probably been 3 or 4 weeks now, maybe a month. I don't know. But it was my brother was inviting me. Really, it was my sister-in-law. They all invited me to go play bingo. Oh, I swear to God, playing some bingo with elderly people, they are ruthless. I'm surprised we didn't get hit in the back of the head with a cane.
Really?
Oh my God, they're they're fierce. For being 80, 90 years old, I mean, they waited the whole week just for this moment. And some of those people, man, they get so pissed off because, like, not really my group, but there's a group of people, some country people that were just way out from, like, BFE. I mean, they were being loud. And, like, the amount of grandmothers that were probably there, and they were all just giving him the death stare. And Like a couple of women start shushing them and everything. I mean, they're just fierce.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
yeah. So we went as a group. It was about probably 7 of us all together. Good time, all hanging around. But damn, was it a long time because it lasted all the way till 10 o'clock at night. I mean,
That's
it started this thing at like 6 or maybe 7. I don't know, but it was till 10, and 30 some games. At some point, I'm getting so tired, and they're calling this out. Right, I missed a complete bingo. They had a design on the sheet, and then I looked back. I was like, well, hell. I was like, JW, hey, I think I missed one there, buddy. I just lost $100.
Oh, wow.
So, but
you see what I'm saying though, that camaraderie,
yeah,
that competition. Not everybody can play basketball. Not everybody can do these things, but there are simple things that we can do that allows us to have that competition, that fight, that drive, that'll build that testosterone up. It's like today's Friday. Tomorrow night I get to go beat them dudes in some poker or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
And it gives you something to look forward to. And we miss that because we've allowed people to tell us we don't want to be persecuted. It sucks too much. You know what? Bring it. That's what I say. Just bring it. Come on. I'm not afraid. If we're going to get persecuted for doing the right thing, then that's okay. Because eventually, where we live at, we're going to eventually get persecuted for just doing the wrong thing. It won't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's coming a time that our society is going to look really, really different. And all the men out there, I just want you all to know you guys need to prep your homes. There's 23 days left of diesel fuel in this country. Period.
What?
23 days worth of diesel fuel left in this country. Period. It's not a lie. That's not fabrication. That's not no bunch of just crazy people saying stuff. 23 days, no diesel fuel. Now let that wrap around your mind.
The semis.
The trains.
Oh my shit. That's jet fuel. Never mind.
What's that? Planes?
Yeah.
No, they can't talk about the planes. That's why I said the trains, the semis, the things that bring your produce.
No.
Generators. You know, the list can go on as far.
Are you for real?
Mm-hmm. And when asked about it to our great administration, they have no idea what they're going to do.
These people need to be completely removed from the top.
I agree with that, but that's why we come back down here where we're at, and we start talking about this stuff.
What we can do,
and we can start. So let's say this is why we should go back to learning how to grow.
Well, hey, there's that, and hey, y'all, look. There's only power if you let it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If there is a king, and let me build this illustration for everyone. If there is a king on his throne, and he was just screaming his head off, all these commands, right? But no one listened to the prick. He has no power.
That's right.
It's just some crazy person screaming at the top of their lungs.
That's right.
That's all we need to do is come together and not listen to him.
That's what I said.
That's all we need to do.
But
not listen.
But we say that. All we need to do is come together. All we need to do is come together. But that's the problem. That's the hardest part is coming together.
I know.
Because we're afraid to come together. It's like who'd want to come together right now outside of just, regular meetings in a sense? Well, because you got people that says January 6th. I mean,
Hey, there's also not even political.
I'm not trying to do political stuff. I'm just trying to.
No.
I want to circle back to the diesel thing just real quick.
Oh, yeah, I need to.
Let me real quick.
I need to hear that.
So for 23 days, there's no diesel fuel. That's a catastrophe for our economy, for people around us. That means no food and goods are getting to us. Period. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we need to be prepared. That's why we need to look at it and as the Watchmen give this information out. because I hope they come up with a plan. I hope that somewhere on the 19th day they finally figure out what to do. I hope that they do. If they don't, Tommy, it's going to be crap, more crap than you ever thought. You talking about that violence and stuff? Wait till there's no food on the shelves. 23 days. No products are getting moved. Think about that. But if we had a group of men that was talking about these things and preparing for these things and learning how to grow food, learning what it means to barter and trade, learning what it means to sew your own clothes, learning what it means to run your household accordingly to what you have, not what you want, if that makes any sense. If we would have started doing that years ago, we wouldn't even have to be worried about that. But we are. I am. Heck yeah, I'm worried about something like that.
When did you see that? Did you hear that this morning or?
Here, we'll play it.
Okay. The one thing I was getting at, and I think I lost it again. Man, you keep making me lose things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just keep. You kept saying something, and then I lost it. Completely lost it. What was it? Don't know. $23 days.
Yeah, here we go.
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. I've been trying to get
This was
here
one
all
day
day
ago.
to update you guys with some information, but I've been super busy here at the store and had a meeting that lasted almost 3 hours, so I haven't been able to get on here. But pretty much what I wanted this supposed to be about is the fact that they're saying that we only have 25 days left of diesel fuel.
Sorry. 24.
In Germany, they are burning trees. They're cutting them down in the forest to get warm. In Poland, they're using coal, like lines are backed up for people trying to get coal. And then Britain said that they are expecting at least 10,000 people to die from cold, from not having energy. So this is very disturbing. Very, very disturbing because we've completely depleted our reserves. You know, we sold ours to China for some reason because that administration is just hell bent on making China a superpower, which they're not too far off from that. Then we also have the Saudi prince saying that they can't do anything, but we are going to feel some pain and we're going to have blackouts because they cannot give us any more oil. They've reduced their production, as you know, by 2 million barrels. And it's just a shit show. So pretty much, if we have a 25-day supply and then that's it, and then in the reserves that we have, there's only 1 million barrels, which is good for about 6 hours. It's all it would roughly last. Then we're bone dry. What happens? It's going to completely collapse the economy because trucks run on fuel, trains, boats, barges, tractors, any kind of farm equipment, all those things need diesel fuel.
They should have made it
And
gasoline engines.
We don't have much left. We are on par to run out, and the administration is doing nothing about it. You
This
have that dummy
administration is
Anthony
bullshit.
Blinken, when he was asked this question yesterday at a press conference, he said he didn't know. How the hell do you not know when we're 25 days out from not having any diesel fuel? And you idiot, who should know, you don't know. But what he did say, though, is that we are going to double our efforts to help our, our neighbors in Europe, and we're going to double what we said we were going to do. So we can't even take care of our homeless over here, but, we're paying people to go to the border. We're putting them up in hotels, building tent cities and everything else with all of our money. But you can't figure anything out, and our people can't be taken care of. This is such bullshit that we are the ones having to pay for this clown administration. He needs to go. People are going to have to start making their voices heard.
I love that woman.
All right, so
I love that woman.
She get too political. I ain't trying to go down that road.
I love that woman. She is awesome.
But you see, There's no faking it. It's literally going to happen, and it comes down to what are they going to do about it. But if we were men that had come together, we wouldn't even care because we would have already figured out a way to make it happen without that.
I think strong. And the thing is,
Do you understand what I'm saying? It goes. Go ahead. Go. I know it's.
well, I'm just saying, if you had strong men, they should have just waltzed. And it's sad, and I think that's the reason why they have security at these places, because real men would have waltzed in the damn doors of those places and removed them, their damn self, out of those seats, out of those positions, and that's why they have to have security.
It behooves me to go and look back at our past, right? And it behooves me to look at China and these things, and I just say that because what we did in our past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Andrew Jackson, I think it was Andrew Jackson. This dude was a frail dude, right? But he dueled over 100 people and won over 100 times. Some of them was congressmen in the same seat. I mean, not the same seat, but in the same party because they couldn't figure out a bill. So they challenged each other to a duel. Whoever won, they got the bill passed. I'm not saying we should go back to dueling, but what I am saying,
it's the manliness that's there.
Right? It was the man. It's like, hey, look, I don't like you. Let me punch you in your face. But we can't do that no more. We're afraid to do that. We're afraid to.
Because you get in trouble any way you go.
And that's the other thing. Is there's so much.
This is where they've locked it to where everything protects everything, security on anything,
and it's hard for us to get an edgewise because it's what's legal and what's illegal. What can't.
Like if I walked over here, punch you in the face, if you wanted to be a big enough bitch, you could go call police and have a lawsuit made up, right?
Right.
Instead of being manly and saying,
we gonna fight.
Yeah, you go fight.
We gonna fight.
Yeah.
That's just straight up. We gonna
Yeah.
fight. You know. Exactly. But see, there was a time. Great Britain was just amazing about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They elected a prime minister over there.
Yeah.
They didn't like him, so in 45 days they removed him and put somebody else in there. Like, where is our backbone to get people out of the wrong position and get the right people in their position and be like, look, y'all are dumb. We're removing you, and we're going to put somebody else there.
Yeah.
However, I believe that there's a certain amount of people that have control so deep that we have to have something like a diesel shortage. We have to have something like a civil war. We're going to have something like a World War III or something of that nature. What have we've always said? Strong men create good times. Good times create soft men.
Yep.
Soft men create hard times. Hard
Absolutely.
times create strong men. So could we see the pendulum swing back? I hope so, Tommy. I hope that we see this pendulum swing back to where people are now will be a desire for the masculine men. And once we get that back, I hope we never give it up. Because we know that the pendulum does swing in this country. It goes from one extreme to the next. So I do hope that.
Well, if there's extreme, and everyone should remember this, exactly like what you're saying. With extreme pain or extreme bad, there also has to be extreme good. Or at least something.
Somewhere.
Something.
But I believe that the pendulum is swinging back to a time where we're gonna have to do what we're gonna have to do, and I don't mean fighting. We're just gonna have to take a stand. We're gonna have to literally. Well, I'll say it to you off air.
Yeah.
We're gonna, and it's okay because trust and believe. If we do have rolling blackouts, and if we do have what they're predicting, she said Britain's predicting 10,000 people to die of the cold. 10,000. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable to be okay with just 10,000 people going to die. It's unacceptable. But if the strong men would have united back a few years ago, probably have more fight chance than what we do today. We're probably just going to have to let the cards play out, hang on, and when all the dust settles, I guess that's when we rise. Because nobody cares about rising today.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got today.
All righty.
So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Go get our app. Go get our app. Go get our app. Go get our app. It's the best thing out there. It's the best thing out there. And yes, I said it. Go get our app. It's the best thing out there. We love you guys. And until we see you next again, will you go?